If the British Empire and its Commonwealth last for 1,000 years, men will still say this was their finest hour.
We stand for Queen,
country, and video games. BRB UK.
Worse teeth,
better accents. Hello, and indeed, ahoy, hoy, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 278 of the Burb UKs, or Burbuck, or Big Red Barrel UK, or Big Red Barrel Uck. Any of those are acceptable ways to call us.
I don't think a few of those are acceptable, to be fair.
Any of those are acceptable. A bit like putting /Big Red Barrel after anything on the internet, unless it's BigRedBarrel.com. And if you do BigRedBarrel.com/Big Red Barrel, the universe implodes, apparently.
Yeah, don't do
No, it brings up a video from the Eurogamer Expo, as it used to be called, from 2013.
So it's like Big Red Barrelception right there. I'm Dan, I'm your host. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
And I'm joined, as always, by Coleman.
Hi!
And Timothy Man.
Timothy, man.
Timon.
Where the hell did that come from?
You are the most unimaginative superhero known to man.
Just a man named Tim with the powers of Tim.
Is that what should I call myself? I don't know. Tim Man? I don't know.
Hi, Tim Timon, attorney at law.
As Tim Man, what are your special powers? What are your special powers, Tim?
I can Tim in a moment's notice.
You do know Tim's not a verb, right?
I'm faster than a speeding Tim.
Well, Alex has told us that.
Oh my god.
You had to make it sexual, Dan, didn't you?
I wasn't making it sexual. That doesn't necessarily have to be sexual. It could be that you're very quick at doing the housework.
That was definitely the inference, Dan.
It was not the inference, nor was it the inference, young man. Thank you very much.
It was both.
Inference.
It was not in France. I tell you that much.
Let me tell you, in France, we drink the wine all the time.
Was it in France? I recommend 1972 Malbec.
Good. That's the French ticked off this week.
It is très tasty.
It's a whole nation done in one foul swoop. Well done.
Avec le manges-tu?
That's some pretty
Tim.
efficient work, gentlemen.
Chanel number 5.
Chanel number 5? I think Chanel number 5. You're wrong country if you're going Chanel number 5.
Tutti frutti.
Anyway, I've got a feeling we should probably stop doing this before we get in even more trouble than usual.
Never!
Chaps!
Yeah.
News is starting to happen once again now that 2018 is shaking the cobwebs out of its proverbial, whatever its proverbial is.
Not necessarily all
Less
good
news, more announcements. Yeah.
There's some good announcements.
And the first one, sadly, because it's always fun to see what big game is going to be first out the blocks and delay itself. Now, sadly, Anthem beat everyone else to the punch. I think Anthem was like pretty much like 3rd of January going, yeah, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, but it did it like a week into the year instead of 2 days into the year, so Scalebound is still winning that war.
Yeah, and that got completely
Scalebound
cancelled.
would always win that war.
Yeah, unless we go, Happy New Year! The next Halo game's delayed. No one's going to beat Scalebound.
But, the high-profile news, Red Dead Redemption 2 is delayed again.
Boo!
Boo!
I mean, it's probably needed, but again?
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, Rockstar, it's pretty much standard now that they tend to miss their self-imposed release dates.
They generally always delay. I think we may have even said it when they announced the release date. It's one of those things. I think when they're making games of the scale they're making, sometimes they won't come together in
That's
time.
not a Scalebound dig, Common, by the way.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's not Scalebound.
dig.
I felt like it was. I'm going to hold you accountable.
No, just the largeness of the game, not the killing of dragons or anything.
There's dragons in Red Dead Redemption 2?
That is
Tim's got the exclusive.
unconfirmed.
Wow.
Unconfirmed.
If they're not in there, you have
Unconfirmed
to tweet
dragons.
@BRB Tim and fight him.
Yes.
That is also not true. Fake news.
It's one of the games that I'm most looking forward to this year, and it's been delayed because they need time for the Polish.
Yes, well, their localization team frankly needs to get their act together, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Every time they delay a game, it's always the Polish.
I'm really glad because I was going to make that joke.
So that's the French and the Polish that we've ticked off this week. Good.
Hey, we have not said anything bad about the Polish. If anything, it's a dig at Rockstar's Polish localization team who aren't getting their act together.
To all our Polish listeners, I'd like to say, Cześć.
Very good. What does that mean, Coleman?
Hi.
Well, great. Fantastic.
Ever the linguist.
Bardzo dobrze. Very good.
You were doing so well until that very good.
Yeah, it's very good.
Oh, sorry, that's
Now we can take the phone.
Whenever I used to practice Polish, if I got something right, I'd always get rewarded with bardzo dobrze, very good, very good. So that's always kind of stuck with me.
Why were you trying to learn Polish?
He was imprisoned in a Polish gulag for
crimes he didn't commit. But if you can find him.
If you can find him, if you can afford him, he will make some very nice pierogi.
No, but seriously, why were you trying to learn Polish?
I'm from Portsmouth, and it used to have a very large Polish community, and I have a lot of Polish friends.
Well, that's a slightly less salacious answer than I was hoping for, but never mind.
There you go.
So Red Dead Redemption 2 will indeed be released, at the moment, they're claiming, on October the 26th of 2018. They apologise to everyone disappointed by this delay, something Poland.
Forgot that we were talking about Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
But hey.
Apology not accepted, Rockstar. Fight me.
Yeah, at BRB Tim, he will fight for money.
Get me.
again.
At BRB Tim.
Fake news. It's a shame, but it's the whole Miyamoto thing.
Miyamoto? What?
No, but just
so you and Miyamoto are having a cage fight to the death? Is that what you're saying?
A big game gets delayed. It's the whole
right.
A broken game is broken forever.
Broken clock is right twice a day.
Game is only a delayed game is only delayed for a short while. Something along those lines. But yeah,
a broken pair of trousers is always embarrassing.
I would like a T-shirt with that quote, but not the quote from Miyamoto. The quote from Tim trying to remember that quote from Miyamoto, because I think he's done it about 3 times on the show, and every time it's like game when the game isn't coming out.
Fool me once. No, that's the wrong saying. When a bear, no.
To beat the man, you gotta beat the man. Woo! Tim Hibbs.
I've heard various
life is like a box. No, that's
ways, which
wrong.
Makes it difficult to know exactly what he said without looking up, and I never remember to look it up. But hey,
I would very much like Tim for you to try and recreate from memory great speeches of the 20th century. Just to hear what you come up with.
That would be bad for everyone.
I had
what was it?
I had a point.
I woke up from it. God, what do you call it?
I had a nap.
Yeah, I had 40 winks. Yeah, so Red Dead Redemption 2 delayed October 26th.
2 delays. Don't do it again.
Right, no, but that's the thing I was going to ask. It's delayed till October the 26th now.
Yes.
That doesn't give them much window if they need to re-delay. Do you think this game could miss this year?
No.
Later, I could see it going another month.
Is that because one of you had it on your most anticipated games of the year?
No, not because of that.
But financially, it would be bad for them.
I'm just looking at
financially it doesn't make a difference till April, so they could release it.
No, but there's a massive sales window, and this thing happens every year. It's something to do with Jesus, Christmas. Apparently, people buy crap around then.
I was going to say, looking at Rockstar's track record, they tend to delay twice, and this is the twice. So
Fool me once. Delay me once, shame on me.
Can't they just go?
Shame on Miyamoto.
Couldn't they just go Red Dead Redemption coming out in 2020, and then when it's actually finished, they go, "Oh, good news, we're bringing it forward," and then everyone's like, "Yay, Rockstar, we love you."
Yeah, you're the best.
Yeah, October's late for them though, isn't it? In the year, they usually release earlier than that. They usually pick their own window, and everyone else gets the hell out of the way.
I think they usually announce for February and then release in October.
yeah, that sounds about right. To be fair.
I swear the last one wasn't a summer release. I swear it was August and there was no games released. I thought it was a month either side.
It was originally slated for spring, I think, and then slipped by a couple of months.
Yeah, it was. Well, I think originally it was the year before, and then it went to the next year, and then it went back by a few months because it released like 2 months before Extra Life, I think.
Yeah,
because I remember the online component of GTA, broken as it was, being a big component of Extra Life that year.
Hey, do you know what they didn't have in Western times?
Plumbers.
True. No, they did have plumbers, but what they didn't have was a way to get the plumbers from plumb to plumb.
Horses.
They hadn't invented the go-kart at that point.
Have they not invented horses?
No. The horses were too preoccupied with being anthropomorphized in a Mario Brothers game at that time, before they got discarded in favour of dinosaurs.
How did they play Mario Brothers back in the olden times of the Westerns?
Well, one of them, they just had to kind of like tape a little moustache to their face and pretend, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, every day's a learning day with Dan
Every
Gibbons.
day is a learning day. But thankfully, since we live in the 21st century and have things called smartphones, and also still have Mario Brothers. Nintendo, in their quest to bring everything to smartphones, is now bringing Mario Kart to smartphones.
Yay, I think.
I don't know how this is going to work without being terrible.
I think it's going to have some terrible motion controls in it.
That's what I think as well.
Some questionable microtransactions that at first people go, yeah, they're not bad. They're pretty. They're not that intrusive. And then the more you play, you'll go, that's really annoying.
Do you know what I reckon they're going to do? You're going to have to pay to fill up your cart. You're going to have to, unless you pay them cash money, you're going to run out of fuel halfway through the final lap every race.
I think it will be characters. I reckon you'll start with Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Yoshi, and then the rest you'll have to pay for. But you can grind to unlock them, but the grind will be so ridiculously long that you really can't be bothered.
There we go. It's the business model of 2018 that every video game worth its soul's going after.
Yeah, pretty much. Fishing. And also, it will come out to iTunes at the App Store first, and then Google Play like 4-6 months later. By that point, everyone on Apple will be like, yeah, no one cares about that game anymore, and everyone on Android will be like, oh, I'm glad I waited. Oh, yeah, it's not very good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we know it's terrible now. The app/game, whatever you want to call it, is called Mario Kart Tour.
Ooh.
And is going to be released at some point in the next financial year, so anytime up till March 2019.
I think it'll actually have a tour, like a little world tour game.
They might do.
You could, like, the old Daytona and stuff, you could race in London and Japan and...
On Daytona, USA, you could not race.
Not Daytona, I got the wrong name.
Daytona!
Yeah, I think that's why I wanted to say Daytona, so you'd start singing.
Daytona!
It's a game.
Hey, Coleman.
Yes, Dan.
Where are you going on holiday this year?
Daytona.
Daytona! Let's go away!
It's not as good song when you say Bartlands.
Pontins!
Bognor Regis.
Scunthorpe,
let's go away!
Bringing it back to video games.
Oh.
Yeah, the one thing I thought, because I saw Mario Kart Tour being talked about on Twitter before I really knew what it was, and I was
were you hoping it was going to be that Australia?
He was hoping someone's going to challenge him to a fight over Twitter again.
Well, no, I was going to say, were you hoping it was that VR Japanese arcade Mario Kart game?
That's never coming to anything other
coming
than,
to PSVR.
Yeah, no, that's never coming to anything other than
well,
arcades.
It's made using Vive, so someone could do some sneaky jiggery pokery like they've done recently with a lot of arcade games and release that to a PC platform probably. But yeah, sorry, what were you going to say?
I'd hoped this was going to be an announcement of a new Mario Kart, and then it kind of is, kind of isn't. So I'm not. I'm on the fence about this at the moment. It's kind of good news, but...
in the same way that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a new Mario Kart game, but actually isn't.
I think that's still doing well enough for them not to announce a new Mario Kart just yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, the main problem here is controls.
Well, do we actually know, and I'm just going to put this out here, that this is a racing game?
No.
Could it be like a motorsport manager thing?
It will be a card game.
That would be quite cool, actually.
That's what it could be, because there's that. They can't call it Formula One for legal reasons, but the kind of motorsport manager. That's on smartphones / tablets / things. That's quite good and works very well on mobile. But if it's some kind of accelerometer-based bullcrap, I'm not interested. Thank you very much, Nintendo.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where they go there. I hadn't actually thought of them going with that approach. I was just thinking it was going to be a dodgily controlled racing game. But yeah, it would probably be better to do something different with it for mobile, like you say.
It's going to be a limited input racing game where the game basically drives itself, but you have to make sure you tap the screen at the right times to make it go faster or drift.
Ooh, wow.
'Cause I played a game like that and it was awful.
And maybe to shoot things and stuff as well, I guess. But, yeah, it could also be that. Could be an endless runner.
No, they've already done that.
In a cart.
It's not running, then, unless you're a member of the Flintstones, is it?
Well, yeah.
Oh, God.
Flintstones driving game.
Oh, no.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I think they've done a Flintstones driving game. I think
they've done a Amiga. No, they did that. Oh, they might have. Yeah, I remember there was
or was that something that...
I think they tried to make like a Wacky Races type thing on the PS2, but it wasn't very good. There was Wacky Races,
yeah. I remember playing it.
But I want like a pure Flintstones one where they all go like 10 miles an hour because they're just running.
Yes, there is Flintstones Bedrock Racing, PS2.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
If you can think of a possible game, it was on the PS2.
Wow, that's an unpleasant website name.
What's that?
Play the Flintstones race on GameGape.com.
GameGape.
GameGape.
Gamergape.
GamerGape. Play the day away on GameGape.
Delicious GameGape.
GameGape.
Stick it in your grundle.
In your grundle?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Let's
right
go.
In your grundle. Right up in your grundle, Tim.
On with the news?
Tim, you'll like this because it involves people arguing with one another.
Good.
Fight me.
Fight me. Club with Timothy Hibbs.
I think he's been playing too many fight games.
Fight me.
Fight games.
Tim.
Yep.
Independent game stores.
Oh, what about them?
They, being an entity which technically can't speak because it's an inanimate object, are arguing with another technically inanimate object, which is even more in the ether because it's a company. So independent game stores are arguing with Microsoft, specifically Xbox.
Why, Dan?
Why?
Why?
Because the much vaunted, slightly exciting, updated Xbox Game Pass is probably going to be quite bad for their business.
Oh, yeah.
So the Austrians, bless them, they've got stuck in.
Good old Austrians.
Good old Austrians.
I was going to try and get through that bit without insulting Austrians, and it lasted all of 2 seconds. Thanks, Coleman.
So in lieu of them having run out of archdukes to get shot and start world wars, one of their retailers, Gameware, not GameGape, different thing.
Dan, you made it worse.
They're no longer going to stock Xbox products in response to this.
Wow.
So basically what they're saying is that if every Xbox they sell equips customers with access to a service like Game Pass, it's completely doing them out of repeat business, so why would they bother stocking Xboxes?
Makes sense.
Good point. Well made, generally. I can kind of see his point of view. You would have thought a lot of retailers might think this way as well. And at least if they don't actively, go out and not stocking these anymore, you can see them not pushing it as hard, no? Especially
since kind of like its day and date release. If I was running a brick and mortar store, I'd be worried, frankly. Although you could make the argument that Xbox isn't quite the cornerstone of brick and mortar game stores as it was, say, 5 or 6 years ago. But it's a sign of the times, I think. I much though I hate to say it, I do think indie game stores, I think their days are numbered. I mean, hell, non-indie game stores called, Game, for example, I think their days numbered as well.
I don't know about you, I don't know many independent game stores. I know a couple dotted around London.
There's
basically
one in Maidenhead that I know of.
I know one in Gosport.
But
there's only ever one in Gosport.
They're a rare breed these days. Support them if you can. It's one of those things where someone is going to have to make the move at some point, and I think Xbox have obviously made the calculated decision that if they make that move first, it may benefit them, and so they're aggressive in making that move first. And like I say, I could see a lot of retailers reacting in this way because of that. It might be to their long-term benefit, and they obviously think that's the case. So
it's the same argument that kind of happened around the time of the Xbox One announcement, where if you remember the whole thing of it was going to be an always online console and you wouldn't be able to return games unless you paid a fee, and that was through games. They had a GameStop partnership worked out, so GameStop were really happy with the console, but no independent game stores were. And they seem to be slowly tracking back those features out into the public eye, starting with Game Pass and then taking away some of the more hated ones like the Kinect and the Xbox TV. But
hated, but yeah.
You can actually still buy. I was on Microsoft's website today. You can actually still buy a Kinect. Don't, but you can still buy one.
How many can I buy? Is there a limit?
You can buy all of them if you've got. It depends how many multiples of £130 you have, Coleman.
Got it. Right. Okay.
I reckon there's more people buying them for reasons other than hooking them up to a console than there are people buying them for hooking them up to a console these days.
I've been to tech shows and stuff where they've hooked up a tunnel of Kinects and screens and stuff, and it all interacts when you walk through, and it's pretty cool. I'd like to do that with Tim's living room.
What happens if you walk down there demanding a skateboard to be scanned? Get my skateboard! I've been waiting for this since 2007.
I've seen them used in scientific laboratories and stuff, keeping track of.
Yes, they are used a lot for 3D
and stuff like that, basically.
3D scanning. They're used a lot for that, and that was really, really, really good for that as well. And I think you'll find, I don't know if I've said this before, but in the top of every iPhone X, and do stop me if you've heard this before.
How many times have we had to have heard this before we stop you?
Oh, yeah, all right. Okay. Fair enough.
I used to play an app called Googly Eyes where you could scan items into the... I'll just point out, I used to live with a guy who had a very young daughter who would play these apps, and I'd play this stuff with her. So you scan the object in, and then...
Defense rests, my love.
Stick Googly Eyes onto the thing that you scanned in and make a 3D object out of it, and then turn it into a character. So we did scan in a skateboard. So you could have scanned in a skateboard into the Xbox 360 at one point.
Could I have used it in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater
Avatar edition that they never made?
Yeah,
no, you couldn't.
Because that doesn't exist, Dan.
You could jerk wildly
what?
You could jerk the...
Don't say that in Dan's presence. That's going to go sexual.
You could jerk the avatar's motions around wildly until a foot flipped up, and then you could go, bam, bottom of an avatar's foot.
Better than what I was expecting, the direction I was expecting that to go, to be fair. But, I mean, do you think this is just coming back to the news with independent game stores going, hey, no. I mean, by independent game stores. We're generalising from a sample size of one here. But do you think Microsoft in this day and age actually give a monkeys?
No, I don't think they do. I think they're taking a step to this kind of future of we're streaming the games in or downloadable services. They want to make that entertainment box, which has been their whole mission all along with the original Xbox, is to make something that sits in a living room and becomes an all entertainment device, and games was their way into it. So, but the problem is, like with the Xbox One, they tried to make that big flagship statement, and it kind of backfired on them. So now they're putting all their eggs into let's work on the games and figure that way out. And then once they've done that,
Xbox, if you will,
yeah, thank you. Then expand back out again. And doing this Game Pass is the first big step into that of having this pretty well priced system of downloading games and having brand new releases on there. What I'm hoping, though, is we start getting other companies following suit of other console companies, but not where we've got this weird mishmash of... online streaming services for films and TV shows and stuff, they're brilliant. It was great when we used to have one or two of them, but now everyone's got their own streaming site. Like, you've got a Netflix, you've got a Hulu, you've got WWE, Disney's about to launch their own, and then if you're in the US, you've got like a Fox thing, you've got a HBO thing, you've got...
Hulu,
so, as long as...
it's a bit like playing games on the PC. I've got a Steam account, Origin account, a Uplay account, a Blizzard account,
and it's horrible.
A Bethesda account, and it's just, can I just have one login, please, for the love of God?
I just want to get rid of my Uplay account, to be honest.
Actually, well, it's got better. I'm not going to lie.
I say I hate the system generally, but the Uplay system at least gives good stuff that you can download in other games, even when you've got points from other games.
Yeah, it's quite beneficial for console, but on PC, when you buy a game on Steam, and then you have to load up Uplay to play it, like, there's 2 launchers to play the damn game.
No.
2 things to go wrong.
One of the many reasons that PC gaming is not superior.
You want to have this fight, do you, Tim?
I don't want either of you to have this fight. I don't like it when Mummy and Daddy fight.
I think the playing part of the game is superior. The experience is not.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
It's rather cobbled together. But that's why you have like things like Discord to make talking to people
another service.
Launch room.
Oh, good. Something else.
Another service.
Yeah.
And another login.
But that's not the only reason why Microsoft have been in the news. Now, there has been rumours abound that Microsoft is about to embark on a light-hearted bit of world domination.
The rumours.
The rumours. Although this one gets described as a rumour, because I think that's about as serious as one can take
Sounds
it.
aggressively effeminate.
That's the way you're going with it, yeah?
Yep. Rumour.
Wow.
Okay.
Now, this has been kind of bubbling up via Polygon, and kind of a couple of members of the BRB community gave us a heads up to it. But the long and short of it is, there is this rumour that Microsoft is looking to acquire EA, Valve, and the PUBG Corporation, Plunkbat.
No, and no.
No, it's
opinion.
not going to happen.
Just to point out as well, it's not all at the same time. It's 3 things that they're looking at acquiring, this rumour suggests. They're not you're not just going to wake up one day and go, wow, FIFA belongs to Microsoft, and so does Portal, and so does PUBG.
This might be 3 things on like a wish list or something they would eventually think about buying. But EA makes no sense because they would lose half of their licenses. Like, literally, most of their sports games, one of the things in the contract is that they have to go to all consoles. So, well, as far as I'm aware, that's always been talked about in the case, and that generally seems to be the case, that something that FIFA's always insisted on, basically.
Although Microsoft own Minecraft, and that's on everything.
Nice little side note, they added Halo skins to Minecraft on the Switch.
But my point being...
Really?
Carry on.
My point being that buying EA wouldn't get them the benefit of exclusivity for all of their titles, basically. Like, that just wouldn't happen.
No, but they're fairly safe in the knowledge that EA can quite merrily crimp out a Madden and a FIFA every year and print money for them. So the return on investment time is probably quite short, should they buy it.
FIFA's one of the highest selling video games of every year, so...
Yeah, and like as you say, I could see them, making sense in like just being the owners of it that don't change the way that it operates, and that might be a way to get around it. But I'm just saying it wouldn't buy them console exclusivity for a large portion of EA's titles. So in terms of its value to Microsoft, fine, that doesn't make too much difference, but its value to Xbox as a brand would not be as valuable as you may think. Kind of.
I think they should go for a hostile takeover of Ubisoft.
Yeah, so, right. I mean, put the other foot, mate.
If you look at all the online service games that they could make their own sort of thing, that would be like a huge get if they could.
Don't give them any evil ideas, Coleman.
But Tim, it might not be so much the EA, should this such a thing ever happen, that'd be interesting, but perhaps it's all the partner studios that they want.
Quite possibly.
It could be your BioWares, it could be...
Or it might be
other well-known EA.
They want Yanni! Give us Yanni!
Yeah. I want it!
Phil Spencer's there going, give me Yanni!
But then going on from that, like Valve, But Valve have got no reason to sell to them at the moment, basically, and possibly see them as opposition in the PC market. And like they've got more money than most people, possibly apart from Microsoft. But and they're a private company, so I don't see any reason for them to sell, basically. And
plus the kind of long documented love-hate relationship of Gabe Newell and Xbox, where. Like, he kind of championed the Xbox 360, and then the One went, this is rubbish. So
the only one out of those, though, that does make sense is PUBG.
But does that make sense? They've already paid a lot. Well, look, I could see that possibly making sense long-term to lock them into a deal because it's now a Microsoft and PC thing. But isn't it already out on PS4?
No.
No? I thought it was coming.
Not even announced.
No? Okay, so
hinted
maybe that's not the case. If they've already paid the money for that, they're not getting any further benefit in this console life cycle from buying them necessarily, other than the reassociation with their brand.
Well, I mean, I think the thing is, because it's developed by all kind of... Obviously, PlayerUnknown he's an Irish dude.
Hello there.
But I think Bluehole, the company developing it, which kind of morphed into PUBG Corp, I think they're based in China.
Korea, I think, PUBG Corp.
I mean, because that's a market Xbox has always been wanting to get into, is the Asian market. And this might give them a way into it, potentially. Okay. So from that point of view, I can kind of see it makes a bit of sense.
Yeah, as I said, that one makes more sense, but I can't see that making sense in the immediate term necessarily.
Listeners, who should Microsoft buy?
Big Red Barrel. And me and Tim and Coleman are going to retire on Richard Branson's island after buying it from him. Then we're all going to fall out and divide the island into 3 and reenact our own PlayerUnknown's Battleground in real life.
I mean, the problem is that Richard Branson...
3 podcasters parachute onto an island.
That Branson's island's a bit of a mess at the moment and is quite prone to being hit by storms.
Yeah,
so
it's not so great.
I'd like a different island.
How bad can life be when you've got your own private island, right? Oh no, my private island's being ravaged by storms. Aww. Diddums.
That's bad if you're living there, Dan. This is the flaw in your plan.
I'm terribly sorry. If it's your own private island, I find it beyond my mental faculties to actually give a shit.
But you're talking about us being there, Dan. Now we give a shit. That's what we're trying to point out. If you're going to go to an island fictitiously, at least make it an island we want to go to.
Right.
So we sell the BRB brand to Xbox for a lot of money, and then we reacquire the Sarcastic Gamer brand, because I hear that's up for sale. Then we buy an island and make Sarcastic Gamer Island, and then reform Sarcastic Gamer UK. without Brady, obviously, and then just carry on.
Hashtag bring back Baby.
24/7 podcasting.
And if that won't push you and us over the edge, I don't quite know what will.
What the no? But then we've sold out, so we don't have to talk about Xbox all the time.
We didn't sell out, Tim. We sold in.
We sold out.
We sold in.
We sold ourselves.
We sold in.
We didn't sell out. We sold our souls. That's what happened. There's a difference.
Oh, good.
Are you calling Phil Spencer the devil?
He'd be quite good as a devil.
He would be quite good as a devil, actually.
Quite a friendly devil. Quite charismatic devil.
It doesn't blink enough, though, and I think that's probably one of the things the devil probably wouldn't blink enough either. Just stares at you the whole time.
You don't blink enough, therefore I think you're
the devil.
Yeah?
You might be the devil. But coming back on track to this whole Microsoft buying everything rumour.
If he weighs the same as a swallow, therefore a witch.
The company which has been talking to Polygon about this, who, quote, this company thinks, because of where we are with these things, I'm expected to hear Microsoft announce something very, very shortly. I would take that moderately seriously if the name of that company wasn't Super Data Research.
Yeah. Super Data Research.
You know it's got to be good if it's Super Data Research.
Hi, Tim Timman from Super Data Research.
Super Data Research Corp.
I am an analyst.
Is that part of the job description that you have to pronounce analyst, like analyst?
I nearly said analyst, but I stopped myself, and then I knew you'd do it, so I don't know why I bothered.
Yeah, analyst. Do you also pronounce Uranus Uranus?
Uranus. I like that. That's what they say on Shooting Stars.
Mm-hmm.
Uranus. Iranu.
Uvarus.
No.
Analyst.
Stop ruining memes from the 90s when you weren't even born. God damn it, Coleman.
Hey, what else is happening?
Apparently I've got a thing on the agenda saying Tim wants to mention there are a lot of PSVR games.
Well,
Excuse me while I sit in the corner and don't give a tossing.
This is because I was typing out all the news and then Tim came up and went, there's a lot of PSVR games.
Oh, God.
Okay. That's not entirely the grand total of it, but there is a plethora of games like recently released and out this month. 3 things got released on like the last day of January. Cold Iron, Out of Ammo, and the Pierhead Arcade. And even though you would think from just looking at trailers and stuff that Cold Iron does look interesting, I have to say I might pick that up. But from the 3 of them, you might think that I would not recommend Pierhead Arcade first, but I don't know if you guys remember, I actually played this at Develop VR, like not last year, but the year before.
How can I forget?
I'm sorry, I tend to slip into a coma whenever you go on about VR.
Okay, fine. When it was on HTC Vive, and it's just a really good quality gaming arcade where you put like vouchers in and play, like, you know, the kind of throw basketballs in the hoop and just like different kind of
so
physical.
It's a bit like Brighton Pier, but in VR.
Yeah. But it's just really well done and quite cheap. So I recommend that. It's on sale at the moment as well. It is.
I have a question.
Yep.
Is there VR candy floss?
There maybe. I haven't seen that.
Game of the year.
Game of the year.
But you do get like different prizes and stuff for all the tickets that you get from the stuff you can actually trade in for prizes and then like store them in a little corner of the room and stuff. But
what do prizes make?
Points.
That's not how it works. But also, I just wanted to mention it because it's a fantastic month.
What do points make, Coleman? A functioning railway infrastructure.
That's also not true. Again, news.
That was one for Brady, that was.
But yeah, it's going to be a great month of releases for PSVR, so I just want to kind of mention that going in. Sprint Vector.
I have a question.
Yes.
How do you define month?
As in the next month or so of games.
No.
Awesome.
Is it a month or a month or so?
Well, starting in a week or so. From a month's time from then is going to be an awesome lineup of games.
Right. Okay, so you're saying anything with the word February in its date is this month?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. So that's one you're not allowed to mention.
No, because I was going to add that on at the end because it's worth adding. But anyway, Sprint Vector's out.
Why say it's this month?
Can you let me get on with it so we can get through this quickly and get on to talking about playing about games? Thank you.
All right. Only if you say the really last one in that list.
Sprint Vector is coming out on the 13th of February, and was the one announced at
PSVR.
At what?
PS Experience
X.
PSX.
There we go.
Yeah.
The one that's going to make me sick.
And that's the one where you're kind of doing the kind of parkour running stuff, and that looks awesome. And that's out much sooner than expected, considering it's coming out on PC. It's coming out on PSVR just a few days later on the 13th of February. That's really cool. Same day as Pop-Up Pilgrims, which was another one announced at the same time that I'm slightly less keen on, but is coming out on the same day.
I have a question.
Yep.
What is Pop-Up
Is that
Pilgrims?
Whack-A-Mole, but with really devout people?
It looks a bit more like a kind of Lemmings on like multiple 2D planes kind of thing.
I have lost interest.
But yeah, as I said, I'm less keen on that one. But Apex Construct is out a week later on the 20th of February, and that's getting a lot of buzz. They had a lot of PSVR YouTubers and stuff that they flew over to see the game early, so there's been quite a bit of footage out of that. It's kind of a
Can I just congratulate
arrow.
them on a particularly awesomely generic, exciting sounding title?
It's not a particularly good kind. Well, the game looks quite all right. It looks like a kind of bow and arrow combat game, but done quite well.
Oh, I like those.
A week after, Moss is on the 27th, and that's one that we've already played demos of because it's on the demo disc, and I've been raving about since I played at EGX, and that looks fantastic, so that's really good. And just a little bit after that is worth mentioning because on the 7th of March, Bravo Team is coming out.
Not this month. That is not this month.
I don't care. Bravo Team is also coming out, and that's one I'm really looking forward to because it's by the people that made the game I didn't like so much last week, but generally Supermassive Games generally make good games, and I've played a demo of Bravo Team, and it also works with the aim controller, so I'm excited for that. It's like a 2-player kind of buddy Call of Duty Time Crisis-y type game, but yeah, that works really well and should be good fun. So
I hear there's been a lot of buzz about Bravo Team because full of bees. Bravo Team. Bravo Team.
Whoa. Whoa,
Good.
Coleman.
Anyway, a good month of PSVR, so yeah.
You forgot one of the games.
Picking up too many games, and
you forgot one of the games.
Which
Tim.
one?
The Wurzels who are VR.
The Wurzels who are VR.
That's because
it doesn't exist, sadly.
That doesn't exist.
Sadly.
Oh, it should exist though. I think we'll all agree that's a game that should exist.
Fake news. But if you want me to jump further forward, Dan, they've also announced a release date for the Persistence, which was another one that was on the demo disc that people are looking forward to.
God.
Not quite my type of game, but announced at a good price point, which was interesting. You can save 10% off that at the moment, and that's coming out in July.
The Persistent.
Timothy
the Persistent Hibbs.
I like it.
Well, I like it as well.
Good.
That's his wrestling name. Comes down the ramp with a PSVR, smacking it into his enemy's face, go on, play it! Play it!
Fight me! Fight me!
I'll beat him.
Good.
Fight him. So that's VR, Tim.
Anyway.
Is VR for this month.
Can we talk about some of those flat screen games, as you call them?
Boring flat screen games.
Oh God, really?
Hey, you can't talk. You do all the PC nonsense.
I do all the PC. I do.
You're as bad as each other.
I know. Also, people these days are generally calling them flat games rather than flat screen games. The screen seems to.
Do you know what I call them?
Vernacular. But, hey.
Video games is what I call them.
Games is what I call them. Do you know what I call VR games? Games. Games is what I call them.
They're all games. All games.
Do you know what I call mobile games?
They're all games down here, Coleman.
Soulless cash grabs. But let's carry on.
Probably fair.
Yeah. You're trying to think of an example.
I was.
No, it doesn't exist.
Anyway, we ought to talk about what we've done played, not what we've done heard about. And for the first time in a long while.
Since Destiny 2.
Since Destiny 2, which 2 of the 3 of us played.
Well,
there is a game.
We all played it.
I played it.
Did you? When?
I didn't like it, but I played it.
Not with me.
No, you played it with me.
That's because
doesn't count. All 3 of us haven't played it simultaneously.
Okay, well, that's not...
Oh, I thought you were going to say we've all been playing the same game.
Well, we have all been playing the same game.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We have.
That's rare enough, Dan.
What was the last game we all played together?
Not only that, at the same time.
In the same place.
Same place. And amazingly, Tim wasn't the most confused person there.
Yay.
Which is saying something, because it was Monster Hunter World on the PlayStation 4.
I think the last game we all played together was WWE 2K16.
Yeah, probably.
Do you know what? I watched that video back the other day.
It's a good video, isn't it?
Good fun.
But because I was the harbinger of the apocalypse.
Yes, it's
by
all your
choosing
fault.
Trump supporter as my.
If you want
to
see why Trump is entirely Dan's fault, watch that video.
Yeah, true fact. True fact.
Make wrestling great again.
Monster Hunter World.
Yes.
It's the first time, well, probably since the PS2, where Monster Hunter has had a big screen presence, I would argue.
Yeah, since the Wii U.
Wii U.
As a Wii U, that doesn't count, because it's the Wii U.
Okay. Well, in that case, since the PS2.
There we go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'd still count the Wii U.
Yes, I don't count the Wii U.
No one counts the Wii U.
You have a Wii U.
I don't count the Wii U.
It's weird. Monster Hunter World has gone from announcement. It's gone from a game that wasn't particularly on our radar, especially, to I kind of am interested. Yeah. I might pick that game. Well, if you're picking that game, I might pick that game. Well, if you've got the game, I might as well play the. And then it's all gone from that to we all quite like this game.
Yeah, I mean, so Monster Hunter World, from the real die-hard fans of the series, Monster Hunter World has received a little bit of criticism because it, quote-unquote, dumbs a couple of things down, apparently.
Well, that's good.
That's good for me, yeah.
Yeah, I'm still very much a confused old man in a nursing home who still thinks it's Thursday every day.
Why is this happening? What is going on?
I don't understand.
What system are you teaching me about now?
It looks like a pig, but it's called a Poogle, it's not that hard to grasp.
It is, and I mean, to be fair, both, me, Kevin, his mate Dave, we had all of us are cat owners. All of us spent far too much time recreating our cats as our companions in that game.
I did spend longer on my cat than myself. But hey.
Yes. Hey. But that's only because you're a caring human being with respect for all kinds of wildlife, Timothy. Unless you want to kill them to death.
There was a point where I was setting up all the tech and Tim was building his character, and then Alex had left the room while he was building his cat and came back in like half an hour later and he was still building his cat. Go, aren't you meant to be playing this to get ready for the online bit? He's like, cat.
Building a cat here. Important work going on.
The cat.
So Monster Hunter World, like the name suggests, you're hunting monsters. The aim of games, you hunt the monsters. There's a spectacularly bad script underlying it all, which I don't pay much attention to. And frankly, if you're there for the narrative, you've kind of turned up for the wrong reasons. You're there for the...
I'm there for the narrative.
Are you really?
Sort of.
Oh, I know why those monsters are all migrating to the island, Dan.
I'm always...
Because there's a big monster and they all want to go and hang out with it because they all want to be really cool.
Well, why are the big monsters all migrating to the island?
It got lost.
Why are the Elder Dragons migrating?
That's the
what
one.
we're trying to find out.
Well, because reasons.
Elder Dragons.
I always get a kind of passing interest in what Monster Hunter is about in each interaction.
Hunting monsters.
Well, yes, but I mean story-wise, because each game...
There's monsters you want to hunt.
Especially with the 3DS games, the games kind of felt very similar to me, and I'm always interested in going, why are we doing this again?
Give me a reason here.
I mean, there's lots of things in the game that belies reason. So you live in a world where everyone trundles around on airships.
Cool.
Yet you still swing a sword about and stuff because reasons. And
there are guns, though.
And it's this world is equally populated by humans, small dwarvy people, elves, cats, and pigs who wear jumpers.
Palicos. The cats.
Palicos are the names of your cat.
Yes. They're not your cat, they're your friend.
And yes, and it's all about, you're kind of meant to be very caring for, wildlife and everything on one hand, but at the same time, the whole point of the game is to murder, stab, death, kill as many things as you can, and then wear their dead bodies as a hat.
I saw an interesting comparison this week because the remake of Shadow of the Colossus is due out in like a week or so.
Oh, I am looking forward to that. That looks amazing.
Oh, me too. But it's like the two different contrasts of the games is you slaughter this huge thing in Shadow of the Colossus. You're like, wow, I feel like a terrible person. You do it in Monster Hunter, you're like, wow, 12 more of these and I get a hat.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, so how far are you guys in? Have you unlocked the second area yet?
No, I think not quite.
I've been at work, so
I played earlier in the week, and I haven't had a chance to play since then. Basically,
I want to do some more tomorrow.
Yeah, I really like it, and I've done a couple of hunts on my own since we played previously. And yeah, it seems to play like, I don't know what it's like in higher levels. I hear it might be more difficult there, but for now at least, it plays pretty well just in single player anyway. You're just getting used to it. But then I really liked it. It is really good fun when you're playing with other people. It was really good playing with you guys, basically.
That's definitely, like I said before, I was playing, I think it's 4+. I never know the names because like there's about 20 different versions of Monster Hunter 4 on the 3DS. I really enjoyed playing that game. It took me a while to get into it, and the kind of barrage of text that's always in your face, but not many instructions as well, so it took a lot of reading stuff on Reddit and looking at videos and guides and apps and things. And still, like, as I get to Monster Hunter World and those same things are in the game, it's like, wow, I really don't know this game at all. But not just that, I was missing the multiplayer component because it's not what you use a handheld for. So actually playing on the PlayStation, where there are lots of people who have picked it up this time, in my circle of friends, and having that ease of being able to play online together. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. It's going to take me a lot of effort to...
Now, you say ease of playing online together.
Well, all right, you have to unlock the online component, which wasn't clear when you've unlocked that component, because it basically went, hey, you have the ability to be online. I went, yay, great, I'm done. Now I can go set up equipment to make this video. And what that meant was you can connect online, but you can't play with others online just yet.
Until you get to this mission. I mean, that's fair enough. That's only at the start of the game, and I guess you got to get to a certain point before it's worth doing so, basically. But those kind of things aside, as someone that's never played it before, I feel with a couple of like asking Kev lots of questions when we were playing, I don't know everything that's going on, and there's still things I need to read up on and learn more about, but I feel comfortable enough in the kind of base game of the loop of going out and hunting monsters and picking up different investigations and different what are they called when you're doing the sort of achievement style things?
Achievement style
quests.
Quests, bounties.
Bounties, yeah, the bounty things. They're things that you can actively do while you're on other missions, basically, kind of thing. Like, some of them will be like pick up pick up herbs,
some milk from the corner
plants,
shop,
or get 4 lots of honey or something like that, and you get a different reward for cashing them in, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that it always feels like there's something to do in this game, and it's done that really well, and it's in a way that feels, certainly at the early stage, quite natural. So, you just have, if you, just as long as you stocked up on these bounties, you'll probably complete them as you're wandering around doing other stuff.
And it also seems quite good at sort of breadcrumbing you through, like, this is what you need to do, but you could also go off and do this if you want, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's kind of the core game is great. It might be a bit of a kind of a cultural difference between kind of what are modern Japanese games versus modern Western games. I still feel completely lost. It's like, right, there's 14 weapon types.
Yeah, that's one thing that I think is really hard as a new player, like which weapon do you go with. But they have given those little videos, and you get those little star ratings of how easy it is for a new player and stuff like that.
Yeah, but kind of when you're using them, unless you spend time in the training room, you don't. It's hard to learn kind of on the job.
Yeah, it doesn't give you any feedback of this is a combo you can do, kind of thing. I mean,
actually, it does. I mean, if you're doing stuff in the top right corner, if you've got your weapon drawn, it will show you the buttons. What if you press this button? What the next thing you do will be.
Okay. I haven't had time to even take that in. Been concentrating on monsters.
My process has kind of been the same with weapons as it was in the last game, because the last game came with all the warning of, hey, we've added this thing in, we've added this glaive, we've added a lute and a bagpipes and a big hammer and all this stuff, and these are the more advanced weapons. So I kind of knew it from review. And everyone kind of said, hey, sword and shield is your beginner's weapon, use the sword and shield. It was in the first game, and it continues to be the beginner's weapon. And I usually go with sword and shield in a lot of games anyway. And I went with that in the 3DS and went, oh, this is kind of boring, and switched to dual blades. And then completely forgot I took that process and did the exact same thing in Monster Hunter World. Was Sword and Shield is the beginner's weapon. Started that, went, well, this is very boring. The shield's a bit rubbish. And switched to dual blades and went, this feels very deja vu.
Yeah, I really quite liked the hammer at first, I have to say.
Yeah. I mean, I think the word of advice I would give is just pick a weapon and stick with it for a bit. You're not going to get the most out of the game if you're going, I tried that weapon for 5 minutes, didn't like it very much. I'm going to try another one for 5 minutes, didn't like it very much.
Well, I mean, unless you're training with the weapon by repeating missions or something, just to get the hang of it, but at least pick a weapon and stick with it through the tutorial levels and stuff to work out whether you're going to level that up enough. Because if you do switch to another level weapon later, you might find you've got armor sets or weapons or things that don't have shock resistance or have negative shock resistance or water resistance, fire resistance, that kind of thing, and just will be completely useless on certain monsters. So you'll need to go back and grind another weapon and thing.
Yeah, I mean that's the side of the game I really haven't got to yet, is the min-maxing side of things. I think I'm far too early on, and that will make my brain melt, because once you go, right, if I want to hunt this particular monster who has these particular strengths and these particular weaknesses, I need to completely change my loadout to this, that, the other. On the bright side, you can save loadouts, which I understand is a series first. Is that the case, Coleman?
Yeah, pretty much. It's the kind of thing of taking these things that... It's weird because you say there's a kind of kickback from the hardcore Monster Hunter community. I've not heard a lot of kickback myself, because it's things that people have asked for in the past, and maybe a little bit bitter because now they finally got it. And they're like, well, we didn't get this.
We had to suffer without it.
Yeah. It's kind of like early days of Warcraft, where people would play Warcraft. It's like, oh, you don't get a mount until I think it's like level 60. And then they go, oh, everyone at level 20 gets a mount. What the hell? I had to work my way up to this. So it kind of feels a bit like that, I guess. But I've heard nothing but good things so far.
One of the other things that I heard was the kind of fireflies that lead you to the next kind of clue and stuff.
That's new.
That's new, yeah. Because I actually think that I can kind of see why people might want to turn that off if they're used to not having it. But I can also see how that almost entirely makes it a different game, no?
Yeah, the weird thing about... So, if you don't know, the fireflies are... You get these flies that kind of look like green spores moving around, and they will highlight a particular item that's in your area, if that's a monster track, or if that's a plant, or a resource of some kind, and highlight that, and then you run over and grab it. In other ways, it will highlight... If you look at monster tracks... It will go, oh, that's the monster track you're tracking, and it will start leading you on a path towards that monster if you do it enough times. As you progress further in the game, that also changes. You can start training the flies to go just for a particular resource or just for a particular monster track, and it will start leading you that way.
Yeah, because that's the only problem with that at the moment. It can be distracting when you're looking for a particular monster and it's going, no, shiny over here, and you're like, that's a plant. I don't want a plant, I want a monster.
That was my problem to begin with.
Although it is pretty good insofar as once you
start picking up enough track.
Once you start picking up a shield, it will... a shield. What am I on about?
Track or
once you start picking up a track or some old mucus, it will, a bit after you've done it like twice or three times, it will then go, right, here is the track to this monster, and it will show them on the mini-map for you.
The one thing I found out the hard way was that, because you get points for picking up those things as well, and it also adds to your kind of knowledge of that monster, so it is kind of handy to pick up the ones for monsters, even if it's a monster you're not actively hunting at that moment.
Yeah.
So I was doing that while I was out hunting for that dodo bird thing that picks up rocks and hits you with them. And yeah, I actually end up running out of time, and part of the reason was because I was picking up the other clues as I was on the trail of that, and then it led me off trail to the wrong thing, and I was just like, oh. And then, yeah, I ended up running out of time in one of the things, which was the only time I've been a little bit frustrated with the game, that I had to... I was literally mid-fight with the thing, and I ran out of time and then had to redo the whole hunt. And do you think it needs a time limit? It kind of adds an element to it of haste, but do you think it needs that? I kind of think there's the expeditions which you can do separately, obviously. But
I like the time limit because I had a hunt where and this is one of the things that I haven't kind of really got out of the game since probably Shadow of the Colossus, when you've finally taken a massive beastie down, like that T-Rex son of a gun.
Oh God.
Yeah, I've taken him down finally, and it was a proper come on moment. But I did it with like 3 seconds to spare.
Nice,
and it really kind of makes you kind of change, because you start off going la da da, having a nice wander about the forest. And oh look, there's a plant over there. Good to pick the plant. To then, as time goes on, it's like right, I've got to get rid of it now. And it actually does help focus you and add a sense of urgency to it. And if you're trying to do things a bit quickly, that's where, you know, you make small mistakes and you learn about, you know, things you've got to be careful about so you don't show an opening to the monster that you're hunting.
I have to say, I don't know if this continues throughout the game because I've only really seen the first environment, but I think that environment is really nicely designed in terms of there are, you know, quick routes through it when you get used to the environment, and you like once you've learnt the environment, it is to your benefit in terms of how fast you can move through that environment, which helps with the hunts and stuff as well. I just think that island level is really nicely designed and sort of feels kind of in keeping with the game and the universe, but it also feels kind of well designed from a video game standpoint as well, type of thing. But yeah, I've been really enjoying it as my first Monster Hunter. I definitely want to play quite a lot more, probably more than I should.
No, and it's actually quite a nice zone out game to play as well, especially if you're doing like the investigations, which are by their very nature a bit more kind of open ended. It can actually be quite a relaxing thing to do, despite the fact that you're bludgeoning defenseless animals to death. But, you know, apart from that, it's...
and I do think this is going to be a good default game for me to default back to as well. So I hope you guys might do the same when we can play a bit of it online now and again as well. So, yeah.
Yes,
I mean, I think... it looks like it's going to have the legs to go some considerable distance. Certainly the way that I'm chipping away at it. I'm going to be dipping in and out of it for a good long time to come, I think. So... Yeah.
This
I can abandon you all when it's released on PC in the autumn. It'll be amazing.
Boo.
I would definitely rather play this than Destiny, but there you go.
Well, fair enough.
Boo.
What? What have I done now?
Leaving me PC again.
Oh, come on.
Fine.
It's not that far away.
Make new friends. Fine. Start the new play.
You did. Fine. Be like that.
Coleman's PlayStation podcast.
I hope you're happy.
Return of the Blue Show, but it's just me. Everyone's abandoned me.
Really
PC.
blue.
Dan's PC show. Big Red Barrel PC.
I'll be Big Red Barrel.
Actually, me and Kev be on that. Me and Kev could talk rubbish for hours and it'd be easy to do.
Big Red Barrel frame rates. Big Red
Barrel in 60 FPS,
I can't play at 30 frames per second because it makes my eyes bleed, even though I never had this problem for years.
No. It's one of those things you don't realise until you've played consistently at 60 frames per second. It is quite jarring to me. I'm not saying that I will never play at 30 frames per second again.
So you're saying that your snobbery doesn't come about until which point?
Monster Hunter Snob Edition comes out sometime in the autumn, I believe.
Good. So we've got till then while you're still our friend.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. Then I shall abandon you like the charlatan that I am.
Yes.
When we're on this island.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, 3 podcasters parachute onto an island full of monsters.
Yes.
If you start this PC snobbery on our desert island, I'm going to beat you to death with a coconut.
One of them starts up about PC. The other 2 kill him. The end.
Wow, that went places, didn't it? That escalated quickly.
I'm going to replace you with volleyball.
We're just gonna
only because you want to see Tim on those bikinis, don't you?
Just going to draw a posh guy in glasses on a volleyball.
Anywho, gents, we are starting to run long on the time.
Pity.
Pity.
It's a pity.
Yep. It's a pity. But other stuff you did play was Dragon Ball FighterZ, which I hear is rather splendid, and I look forward to hearing about it more at length. And I hear there's a very forward-thinking vegan character in it.
Vegan character? I mean, most of the characters are named after vegetables in Japan. Yeah, he's literally named Vegetable.
Is he?
Kakarot is a carrot.
What?
Toriyama, this is how Toriyama comes up with characters. He wakes up in the morning and goes, I should come up with some new character names, opens the fridge and goes,
2-week-old milk.
Lots of characters are named after different foods in Dragon Ball, like Yamcha and Chaozu and all those kind of guys. Tien, yeah. Krillin, food.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go. Fun fact. Good game, though.
Yeah.
I'll talk about it more next week. Hopefully Tim will get a chance to play as well. But it's one of the games that after playing quite a bit of it, I was saying I was getting more into fighters since last year, and this is the one that's made me go, maybe I'll go get a fight stick. Because I really like it.
I mean, I have to say that from what I've been hearing, it's because, you know, the Dragon Ball name has not been synonymous with good quality video games for a while now.
I'd argue that fact.
Well, they've been making
fans, at least.
They've been making video games for Dragon Ball for like 30 years, and there are a lot of them from the Famicom going full. I think even before the Famicom. And it's very hit and miss on what you're getting. I have played some cracking Dragon Ball games over the years, but there is a lot of chuff out there, and I have imported some Japanese games, and there are ones that are very good. There are ones that are weird, and I just cannot get my head around. There's like trading card games and stuff they made on video game formats. So, yeah, there's a lot out there.
Yeah, but I hear this is really, really, really good.
The quick version of this is it's Dragon Ball Burst Limit cross between Marvel vs. Capcom Fate of Two Worlds.
Jolly good.
Yes.
Good, lots of words you said there.
Yes.
Lots of all of the words.
Tag team.
Them's
2D
fighting words,
game.
Coleman.
2D, 3D fighting game with tag teams of 3. There you go.
Well, there we go.
Very good, though. Very good.
So, yeah, more about that next week.
Yes, why not?
Do you know what else is happening next week?
Nothing. Let's quit the show. It's done. See what you've wrought on this show, not Branson, Spencer.
Branson!
Tabletop Tuesday.
Each and every Tuesday, for anyone that doesn't know, we have an event called Tabletop Tuesday where we have a different feature game, a board or card game each week, and if you play that feature game that evening, you get a chance to win a copy of that game at the end of the evening. Last week's game went down really well. Another really good event, and we've had more than 60 people at every event so far this year, which is pretty good for the month of January. It's often quiet, but yeah, been nice and busy, and it's been a good few weeks. And yeah, this week's game is a game, it's a new variant of a game. Anyone that's familiar with board games probably knows about the board game Pandemic, which has been very popular recently, dealing with diseases that have been trying to conquer the world, and you're trying to save the world and eradicate the diseases.
It's almost like the dictionary definition of pandemic.
Yes, but this is where this one goes a little bit off script. This is called Pandemic Rising Tide, and it's actually about defending the Netherlands in the industrial age and updating their defenses, their flood defenses, so that in the industrial age, which is a bit of a left turn, but apparently it is a pretty good version of it, and good fun to play, and should be a good one to come along and try out in the evening. And if you try it out, you could possibly win a copy at the end of the night. And for anyone that doesn't know, there's also a ever-growing collection of games there with each game that we bring each week. So there's quite a large collection of games at loading to play whenever we're not there, but whenever we are, you can come along and play and possibly win. So join us on Tuesday, the 6th of February.
If they did want to come along, Tim, where should they come along to?
I was just about to say, join us on the 6th of February in Loading Bar in Dalston. There are more details on the top left-hand corner of BigRedBarrel.com, or you can go along to our meetup group, which is Tabletop Tuesday, and join the over 1,500 people that have joined that there. Come along and play.
Splendid.
Good.
You should do that. If you're in Dalston, if you find yourself with a Progress bar in Dalston, that's where you should go, to Loading Bar.
No, Progress is the wrestling company in London. Dan.
Really?
You're getting confused in your old age.
Yeah.
Am I?
Yeah. They do some stuff with loading, though.
Hey, and on an unrelated note, I only just got the joke about Loading Bar.
Oh
Really?
my god!
Yeah.
Really?
Seriously. Yeah. I'm the most educated idiot you'll ever meet.
Wow, Dan.
I know, right?
That's like
Literally.
more than 5 years it's taken you to get that.
I know. I just got it.
What I've told people about Tabletop Tuesday, Tabletop Tuesday, it's at the loading bar, and they go, good joke. It's usually the first thing people go to.
See, the problem is I'm always looking for the hidden knob joke in things.
When I say you're getting slow in your old age, Dan,
yes,
I think you've got slow.
Yeah, a little.
Not gotten.
Yeah. Yeah, all that book learning's only good for so much, isn't it?
Yep. You've rotted your brain away with all them books.
With all that science.
With all that learning. You've unlearned all that the things that you learned before.
Yes. But anyway, before I start embarrassing myself further, let's get out of here. But we'd like to say thank you to a couple of people first. From the Twitter twits, I would like to say thank you to Nelly and Richard Kirk.
And also on YouTube, thank you to MikaB2, who asked if we could have a Monster Hunter Let's Play video podcast.
Sort of.
Well, we're going to put out a Monster Hunter video pretty soon. But the idea of playing a video game while we do the podcast, I've always kind of found those are a little bit distracting for the people doing the podcast, and lots of dead air, and they're hard to edit as well. You can't really
it doesn't
edit them,
lead to a good quality podcast for you guys, and it just seems disrespectful to your time. So we would rather talk directly to you and then play separately.
I've looked at the idea of us playing a game, recording the footage, and interlacing the podcast over it, and that's something I might revisit at some point, but...
Okay.
Yeah, for now, no. I'm probably not going to play a game and try do the podcast.
But if you guys are up for streaming some at some point, I'd happily do that as well.
Yeah. That exists. Streaming.
Cool.
Yeah. I think the problem is where me and Tim have to do it from the same room, I have to buy some more equipment because I tried to hook it all up last time and it was not efficient.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Wearing two sets of headphones isn't the best.
That probably won't change.
That does give the rest of us a bloody good laugh, so it's amazing.
Good.
Yes. Anyway, my cat looks like he's about to jump on me because he's convinced it's time for food again, so we probably...
Is it time for food?
It's always time for food.
Food. Starving.
I know, right? You and my cat have always been on a level, Coleman.
We have. We're on the Neville level.
Haven't we, mate? Haven't we, Hobnob? What's that? He's either hungry or plotting how to kill me.
I think the association is you're both knobs.
Oh. It's a bit harsh.
Well, he was
Tim.
Hobnob.
That's a bit mean. To Coleman and my cat, but mostly my cat.
Well, if I called you a hob, it wouldn't be very effectively cutting enough. A knob was a bit harsh, but I had the choice of two.
I do clean the top of my bald head with a Brillo pad.
So do you have
associations there?
Do you have head wax?
No, that's a myth. No one waxes their head.
Coleman?
Yes.
Have you had a summer as a bald man yet?
Yeah.
Did you have to put, factor 50 on your baldy head?
Of course I did.
Have you heard of hats, Dan?
No, because if I wear a hat, I'll get a tan and then a weird line around the head.
Oh, I didn't think of that problem. Sorry.
The plight of a bald man.
Coleman?
Yes.
If say you're a bald man, which you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you...
I'm a bald man, which I am. Dan, I'm a bald man, which I am.
Yes, you are. So let's say you've put your sun product of choice on your baldy head.
On my bonds, yeah.
On your bonds. If say, for example, you had a snooze and someone in a higher SPF factor sun cream, let's say factor 50, drew a penis on the very top of your head.
Yeah, I would have a dick on my head.
And you didn't realise. How long would it be before you realised, do you think?
10 seconds. People would laugh behind him immediately.
I shave my head every day, so I'm assuming I would notice in the mirror.
But you can't see the back of your head?
Yeah, that would look like a backward penis anyway, so it would fool you.
Use the two mirrors and you get that cool effect where it looks like there's
endless penises.
Endless penis on my head. You do the Star Wars thing with the two mirrors and you see loads of copies and then you click once and they all click like delayed, but they don't at the same time. That's how mirrors work.
You know what your job is this summer, don't you?
I don't go sunbathing. How's he going to do that?
No, but you've got to go outside and your big baldy head is closer to the sun than any other part of your body.
Baldy head?
When am I going to get time to draw a penis on his head? And it would be much funnier to draw a smiley face anyway.
That would be... I might do it myself. Back of my head looks like the Watchman badge.
Just a splat of sun cream across one eye.
Damn you, seagull.
Anywho, We ought to go.
I can make it
we
look
really
like
ought to go because, well, frankly, we're talking rubbish. So, that is your lot for another week. And I suppose all that's really left for us to say is that I've been Dan.
I might have been Tim.
I've been Coleman.
You got a baldy head.
Got a baldy head.
Baldy head.
I'm a nice man with no hair.
Which he does.
I think we've established this week that Coleman is bald. We should point out slightly bald by choice. Slightly.
Yeah.
Mostly.
I did like the animations, the press start animations, which I've not done for a while. But the last one I did, I remodeled the character slightly, and mine reflects that I have no hair now. And one of the first comments on there is, "Did you take your hair off to save on pixels?"
Yes, because that's how the internet works. They charge per pixel.
You don't do the budget, Dan. I do.
The pixel budget is tight this year, Dan.
Pixel budget coming to PlayStation VR.
Sounds like crazy good fun. Anywho, we are going to disappear. So thank you very much for listening for another week.
That is a good trick, Dan. Disappearing is a good trick.
Yeah. Bit useless on an audio podcast, I find. But,
maybe you had a little noise that went along with it.
Oh my god, say the words already.
So, until next time, dear listeners, toodle bye.
And your ears are quite welcome for the podcasting goodness that you just heard. Why not roll on over to BigRedBarrel.com for more podcasts, news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarrel.com.